Could you hear the campfire? Can you hear me fine? Let's just check these, at least my mic for the moment, and then we'll check the other ones. Everybody hear me okay? Everybody, you guys want to say hello? Del, Malia.
Hi.
Hey, everybody.
Well,
Hello.
I am definitely here. Why am I hearing audio? I think just give us 1 second. I think we got some, somebody want to mute that over there?
We're in our new studio today. Sorry, guys.
Yes, so this is let me just give you a little bit of a breakdown of why, first of all, you're going to see a little bit new format here. We had a PC, I think I said in the one video, blew up, so I've been rebuilding everything. So I apologize for any little bugs that we experience here today, and I appreciate everybody coming. I think that this is probably going to be one of the more important podcasts because of some of the things that we've experienced. Obviously, we've gone through a fairly traumatic experience just recently, I would say. Now, why is that traumatic? Well, it's traumatic for multitudes of reasons. One of them being what I'm talking about with Q. Who is Q and what happened? So this is the problem. Right now, I want to address at least this portion of the show. We don't have a time limit for this show right now. I just don't want to sit and ramble in your ear with nothings. So as long as we're covering things here today, we do have in-studio guests. I do not yet have cameras on them yet, but those cameras are going to be set up. But I have four here in studio, but only 3 microphones, actually 2 people sharing 1 microphone. So bear with us as we get everything completely polished up. But we're going to be able to have video cameras on everybody here so they can join these types of shows. And we're going to do these more often. And so, but what I wanted to do is I want to introduce everybody that's here in studio. Obviously, all of you know Malia, my beautiful, lovely, and incredibly intelligent, wise, and spirit-filled wife.
Thank you for reading that cue card well.
And we have Robert Cordero. Robert Cordero is in studio. Say hello, Robert.
Hello, witnesses.
And I'm going to ask them each to share a little bit about themselves. Obviously, you know about Malia, but about also Del. So Del Van Ecklenburg.
Glad to meet you guys.
So Del and I have a history together. Robert and I have a history together as well. Just
don't forget Deanna over here in the wings.
Well, and Deanna is here. Well, Deanna, come over here to the microphone and Lisa, hello, so everybody can hear your voice in the studio. Just go ahead and say hello there into the mic.
Hello, everybody.
That is Deanna. You also know her as Divine Renegade, so you can troll her now in chat. Thanks very much. Now she gets to learn what it's like to be trolled. So I'm trying to lighten the mood here because I know that there are a lot of really messed up people out there right now. And I've been talking about this delusion for quite some time. And we're going to go back to what I'm going to call the panel for now, right? Because I want to hear what they have to say about these things and what they think. And we haven't really, I mean, we've just talked generally throughout the day, but we haven't really, we haven't had these discussions. We kind of wanted to save them for this right here. And but it's remarkable because of the little bits and pieces that I can see on each one of them, where they feel different about how I feel. And I can see that that person feels different than that person about what happened. So there is a real disruption amongst people's feelings right now and what they even thought was new. Now, here's what I'm going to talk to you about, because Q could have been real, but I'm going to explain to you what I mean. Because Q, you could just take Q as AI, psyop. So take Q as a psyop, even if it's just a person. Sorry, they said my mic was low, so I've turned it up. Hopefully that works better. And I'll pipe everybody up just a bit. So even if Q were a person, I would still call it AI because obviously we are intelligence. But there would be a purpose or a program behind why that individual would be doing something. Now, also, let me keep this in mind, that we had a president that was probably the most technological president that spent more time online. This is a guy that actually trolled some really Twitter accounts with literally 25 followers, but because they said something that he was pissed about, he would respond to them. And then, of course, their Twitter account would gain, 1.5 million followers. But he would do that type of thing. So make no mistake about it. It's not like the guy didn't know what 8chan was. Right? It's not like he didn't know and that his advisors didn't know. Oh, yeah, they pretend to be stupid, right? Just like, he said he knew WikiLeaks, and then he said he really didn't know about WikiLeaks. But yet, through his campaign, boy, he knew everything about WikiLeaks because it was doing him a huge, massive favor. So he knew everything about them. And by the way, if you were part of the swamp, you would definitely want to keep Assange behind bars. I'm just saying.
If you're a swamp swimmer.
Yes. If you swim in the swamp, then you don't like people that embarrass the swamp creatures. End of story. End of story. Much less Snowden, who is probably the sweetest kid. And if you want to talk about patriots under your idea of what a patriot is, this is a kid that loves this country more than most people I know in this country. So those are the people that should have been pardoned. They have. But we're going to get into the pardon section here in a little bit. We have a fun thing to talk about. But I'm going back to this Q thing because I believe you might have been following that. But here's what could have happened. Let me just give you a possible scenario that Trump was very much, he did not want to be embroiled in wars. To him, it made him work too much. He had to work too hard for that. That's actually, many people have said that. He didn't like wars, not because he didn't like wars because they weren't profitable. He just didn't like wars as a president because he said he didn't. And he really was an anti-war president, probably the most anti-war president you've ever experienced in your lifetime. So much so, he had every opportunity to go after Iran, and he tried to make appeasements and kill people and do all sorts of things. But the reality is he did not go to war and he did not take out Iran. Now, who would be upset about that? I don't know. Who would be upset that we did not destroy Iran? Well, I don't know. Why don't you just go look at a recent here? I'm not even going to say it. So I get, let me just see here. Let's go. Let me go here to Twitter and see if I can find Netanyahu. See if I can find his Twitter. Because, well, I'll just tell you what he said. I've got a lot of other tweets to show you, and I don't want to waste your time me searching for stuff. I can't stand when people doing these shows do that. So what he said was, congratulations to Biden. We've had a long history, and we've worked together before. We love each other. Yes, 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 all that good stuff. And but then he said, and I'm sure that Biden will follow along, essentially, and help us with our main adversary, Iran. So what would happen if people, banks, the Reserve, the Bank of International Settlements, things like this, they have an agenda to accomplish? The very wealthy that make Trump look like a poverty victim. These are people that make Jeff Bezos look like a poverty victim. So what do you think in their agenda when their puppet doesn't do what they ask him to do? Well, they kick his ass out. He had his opportunity and he didn't do it. And the next one, well, I don't know. Why don't you ask Jimmy Dore? Why don't you go over to Jimmy Dore's channel and see what he's been pointing out about the next incoming president or the now president? What he's doing and who he's putting in his cabinet. Pro-war? Oh, I don't know. Let's take a look at something here. Let me just go to this other cam. Where did that picture go? We're going to look at a few things here. Oh, there it is. That's a nice cabinet. I'll just leave that there for you to gander at for a second. This is the guy that also, the very first person that he fired since becoming president, is a black guy, the Surgeon General, who toed the line, wore the masks, did everything. But you see that this group of people here, they're definitely They're about as diverse. Well, I don't know. You see what it is. Anyway, I really don't know how people can't see this, but you're going to see more of it. And I'm going to be going to more of these tweets because there's a lot of things to think about. But I wanted to just give you that idea. So in other words, the people behind this would also, of course, if Q were real, then the people that were behind this, if this were the scenario, gave up and didn't do any of the things that Q said that were going to be done, the arresting of people, and said, no, you know what? I'm going to give it to them in exchange. Now, you've heard me talk about who conducts this and who runs this, that it's far, far beyond some individual guy that you think is a guy. There's a much larger enemy, much smarter, much craftier, far more intelligent that is behind all of this. And like Scripture says, you'll look upon a man and say, this is him? Yeah. But you're going to see. Now, we're going to be getting to the as we start to go through these things. I want to talk to you about, Malia and I done the podcast series, which many of you have watched, and it was 3 of 4 that it ended at. That's because we had one segment where the audio was corrupted. I tried to fix it. I couldn't. So we figured that we would probably get to discussing that very subject and my last video of the 2 gods and the lower G God, the big G God, because what you're watching right now is essentially these works. You're watching his plan take place. That's the plan. But I'm going to tell you right now to all the Q folks out there, and let your hearts not be troubled, because at a minimum, and you found your heart, and you found that you care about those that can't fight for themselves and kids. You know in your heart that you do love others and that you do care for others when you've now witnessed so many major institutions, including the very government itself, show you that they don't give a rat's ass about any of you. The lot of you can go. The lot of you. I'm going to read some of my tweets here because I'm going to start talking to you guys, particularly on the website. So let me go back to this and transition this just to remind you. This is the Global Witness Community site. It is being built up right now, although we're bringing registrations in. And sorry, we've got Stella yapping in the background here. Just want to shut that door. Sorry, little Stella. She's protecting the homestead. We have a new dog here, which we'll introduce you as well. And and you're going to love this dog. He's beautiful.
It says, turn off the birds and fire crackle. I think we have a little bit. Are we a little hot on the video? Turn up Derek's mic.
Hold on. I've got no audio here. I'm good. Sorry, folks, if we're having technical difficulties. 1 second. Sorry about that, guys. Okay, so we at least I'm just checking here, making sure that we've got some the audio's coming through fine. Very, very good. Oh, gotcha. Fire crackle. Gotcha. I had totally forgot that was even on. I apologize. See these technical things. And the birds. Well, the birds go with the firecracker, the fire behind me. I just figured that was more entertaining than the green screen. And besides, I can sit here and warm my hands, I'm sorry about that. So here's what I'm going to do right now, since we just started this. I'm going to, and I cannot wait to get the cameras here because I'd really rather have everybody here on this screen. I'm going to throw it now to the group here because I know that Malia has a bunch of thoughts about this. Actually, you know what? I want Dell. I'm going to introduce you to Dell. Now, Dell and I served time together. So I'll let Dell just give you a little intro because I think you need to know a little bit about Dell and our relationship before he goes into his thoughts about this. And what I'm going to do is, just so you don't have to sit and look at me the whole time, I'm going to leave the website up and turn my camera off so you can listen to Del. But Del, tell me about you, where you come from, how you and I met, and we'll try to do that in a few minutes. But tell me a little bit about our relationship and where we come from.
Absolutely. Derek and I go back a little bit, and even more so in corporate America. We knew of each other. I come from a very interesting corporate background. And that being said, that was a different life for me. I started transitioning out of that life in around 2004, 2005. And I started doing a lot of study, theology, seminary, structured Bible, and really getting heavily into my spiritual end. And that led me to the same path that Derek was on. And when we found each other in a very interesting way in a system, being brought in under the circumstances we both were, it was ironic that we were meant to see and meant to find each other.
For sure.
Literally had people all over this particular system telling me I needed to talk to Derek. You guys should talk. You guys should talk to each other.
And we're in prison.
Yes. And that led us to, I actually ended up landing in Derek's dorm. And we immediately started sharing our knowledge and understandings of what we were learning. Our spiritual walk was growing in the same path. And we've literally been in a place where we could do literally our ability to search, read, learn, and understand was literally 24/7. And we were able to immerse ourselves in places that were very good to give us the foundations we need to feel very well and very good about what we believe, think, and are trying to teach. Subsequently, I ended up running and being head of particular church that we had in that system. And with that being said, I had to deal with all different walks of Christian faith.
Oh, yeah. They had Odinists, we had Satanists, we had, you name it, you had a group in prison.
We had it all.
Oh, yeah.
And that being said, you learn to have a lot of patience, understanding, and it takes time to get people's ears and help them, to guide them. And we were actually doing very well in getting a lot of people on the right track, we felt. That being said, again, our backgrounds were very corporate.
Yeah, very corporate, technological in the tech field.
In a big way.
Yeah.
And I don't want to bore you guys with all that. The reality is that it brought us together. And since then, we clearly have an understanding of what our goals are and what we're here for. And we're in the midst of that now.
Yeah, and we experienced, and Del and I are going to get to talk again. And we'll go into far more details and be able to share and laugh about some of the stories and some of the experiences we had, because some of the things that took place that I've probably talked about on video before, nobody would believe, and Del was there. So he's another testimony to and a witness to the things that have taken place. But with that, Del, you and I were talking earlier, and you were speaking about, we were talking about how there's a whole set of broken people right now that really don't know what they're going. And I'm just going to let you guys know that just before we talk about this, that, there's a whole new narrative that it's now in March, that Trump's going to come back, and the danger in this, the hope of that is the Antichrist. And that's what I'm going to get into and that we're going to end up talking about here. Now, I'm not going to say that Trump is the Antichrist. Remember, Christ said there will be many Antichrists, many. So the point is, the Antichrist would be a man that you put your hope and your faith in. That man. Even Christ didn't tell you to put your faith and hope in him in that physical body, but hope and faith in the office and Christ, who he had become and sat in that seat. So with that, many people have followed this to their detriment, and it's breaking them, and it's not helping them think properly. Because even if it were real, like I said, you have to begin to calculate and weigh the reality or the non-existent reality and be comfortable with both of them, because that's what it is. So Malia always likes to say to me, I'm just getting comfortable or getting used to or getting comfortable with reality.
Make friends with reality.
Yeah, make friends with it, because it is. Those are the things in the physical space. But that's not what this channel's ever been about. I've always talked to you about these things and warned you about these things precisely for this very reason, that there is only one way. There really, truly is. And that's where you need to get to. And for many of you that just started on this journey, you got a lot of work. And this is not easy. It's not going up and, walking up at the altar and saying a few words. This is a journey. That's what his name means. That's what he said. That's what Torah means. Torah, Torah, Torah means the way, the truth, the life. One word, 3 meanings. So with that, Del, when you're talking about people, because, you have other people that you talk to outside of the scope of, just this place. So tell me what you feel that you're seeing, and based on the research that you're seeing, how are people dealing with this right now?
I think a lot of people had a lot of hope and a desire in wanting to see truth, in their opinion, of truth coming out. But that isn't the way of our adversary.
No.
And we need to understand that even though we know these truths and we know what we know, we need to understand that they still have an agenda. He has an agenda. And we have to also fall back on our strength spiritually and to attack what we were told to attack, which is our foundation is to go after things in high places. We're looking and dealing with principalities in high places.
No question.
And it's not a matter of so much our flesh as it is that spirit that's out there. And how do we combat that? We strengthen ourselves in our walk, in who we are, and bringing us to a place that we understand our spiritual walk is where it needs to be. And that will give you all you need.
Well, there's no question about that. The spiritual walk, and this is where I'm finding it remarkable. I've been getting comments, and a lot of things have taken place today. There's been some people that have contacted me. They're not too happy. There was somebody that I was responding to a comment today that was asking me about 33, the number 33. And I kind of barked at him a bit, not rudely, but I barked at him, and I said, because that question always comes up to me because it's about, it's the Masons. And I've said on countless occasions, literally hundreds and hundreds of times, I've addressed that. And so I just said, usually trolls ask me that question or something like that. And he responded to say, well, this is how you treat a person that's been here on your channel and watching you for 3 years. And I was like, you're full of it, because if you've been watching this channel and you've been following me for 3 years, you've heard me address that question and talk about the number 33 literally thousands of times. So the point is that people are breaking their different, even that, defending himself by trying to create something in himself. And follow me here for a second, because what we're watching is a projection on levels that is a disease. The projection of the media. This is why it is fake news. This is what's happening. Everybody's being gaslit for this very reason itself. And I want, Malia, if you remember that thing that you brought up earlier that talked about an agenda, and who was it? It was Yale University. How they conduct themselves. I want to talk about that, because that's if you can address that, because that's where I'm going with this. The projection. The media is projecting onto Trump. I've listened to the media so many times, and they're not doing this with Biden right now. So this is where you have a problem. This is where people feel crazy. But they are projecting onto Trump what he's even thinking. This is news, not commentary. This is news, right? They're talking on the news and they're saying Trump thinks that this is going to happen and he feels this way. It's like he feels, is this a quote? No. You're literally putting into the air what the man is thinking. You are operating in something as ridiculous as Q, except just on the other side. Both sides had their own Q. The left had their Q, and it was Trump. And the right had their Q, and it was the Q that everybody followed. And both of them made both sides nuts. Made them crazy. They call this side of the equation, if you're on the left, they'll say the more conservative side of the equation, they'll say, well, they're the conspiracy theorists. Are you kidding me? Conspiracy theorists, that's all we've listened to. We've listened to conspiracy theory after conspiracy theory after conspiracy theory against Trump. And in the inverse, do you see how things go? There is no good or evil. This was the whole point of the video that I made. And this was the whole point of the discussion that Malia and I began to have, because it's about repentance and what the enemy has done and where we all need to go. And we need to go there in a big hurry, because they're coming for you, Chuck. They're coming for everything that you think is real. You think it's so crazy that Trump couldn't be the Antichrist, but yet I say that this situation that he's in right now is the fatal wound. They'll probably remove him by convicting him in Senate, now that they actually control the Senate too. So they'll convict him and assure that he can't run for president again. But in 3.5 years, what the people will experience, I believe, they will come and they will beg President Trump to be their president. They'll beg him to come back. The covenant, the peace, that was broken. You just watched that. Trump said, come to D.C. He would lead a revolution, essentially. That's what he intimated. That he would walk with you in there and he would. Well, 4 million people came. Guess who didn't show up? Oh, he showed up and gave a speech. Now, me in that situation, had I said something like that and I were that person, I'd have walked down off that stage, walked into the people and said, let's go. End of story. But I can't expect him to be me. That's why I don't try to judge that guy. I just tell you what fruit happened. The fruit happened. The fruit is he didn't show up. But now it's going to be March, according to the Q folks. That's true cognitive dissonance. When they start altering the way that they'll start changing the law. Oh, the law. No, Q said that. No, but that's not what he meant. See, you just don't understand. You watch how this happens, man. This is the snake eating its tail over and over and over. We're in that place, and that's why we talk about it, and that's why I urge constantly to find yourself, go inside this. You got to get away from this. This is that good and evil, and neither of them are good. Neither of them. Not even the one that says that it's good. The only thing good is Christ within you, and then not even you with Christ in you are good. Which is why he would say, why do you call me good? There's only one that's good. And it ain't me. It's that inside me that's good. That's why I try to get everybody to always hear the truths through a discovery by yourself. So it's your truth. Because I promise you I'm going to disappoint you. I disappointed that guy on text today. I disappointed another guy on text or in comments and in text. I'm going to disappoint you. And if I own all your truth, and you didn't actually find it on your own through the discovery and the overturning of rocks that I showed you, when I disappoint you, you will lose all that you thought was true, and you'll see it as worthless because you never did know it. You just believed in me. Don't ever look to another man, ever, to be your salvation. You are it. You inside Christ, inside of you, find that. There is no other. Find Christ in you. That is the only way. End of story. You don't get around this one. Watch. Things close in. Oh, well, hey, I got my arms. Yeah, let's see how that works out for you. You've got the most wealthiest people in the world buying up all the land, tangible things, because the dollar is becoming worth nothing. Have you gone to the store in the past week? The literally doubling of prices inside a day. That's called inflation, folks. They've been hiding inflation for a very, very long time. You can only hide it for so long because things cost. So we're going into some things now. It's interesting though when, but I wanted to make sure, Malia, if I can get to that piece because of what's taking place right now. When I talk about the enemy and who he uses and his minions, and it's not, somebody specifically one person serving in a temple of Satan. Satan has his goons. And those come from, of course, going to be the high and lifted up places, right? That's why we've got a temple in D.C. They called it a temple today, by the way, if you didn't know. And I've got a thing to show you here later on that I'm going to end this show with, which is government is God. They try to tell you, they used it in the subliminal messages. I picked it back up today, and it's really amazing to watch it. Because it's the subliminal message during the national anthem that they used to play at 1 o'clock in the morning, and this is in the 60s. And it said, government is God, don't disobey, obey, consume, government is God, all of these things from the 60s. Okay, let me just help you understand that statism is a religion. Those oaths, those things that they swear them into, this is a religion to them. And you don't decimate their temple. Well, I could be like Christ and say, do you see those buildings and everything that was in the inauguration? There will be a day where you will see not one stone not overturned. There will be that day. But before then, I'm absolutely certain the racist White House name has to be changed. So, anyway, Malia, tell me what this Yale thing was.
We were looking at the appointees and the list of appointees that you showed earlier. And of course, I think most people are familiar with Janet, what's her name?
Janet Yellen.
Yellen, with her extensive, backgrounds. And of course, she's a graduate of Yale. And I was looking at Yale and I was looking at their coat of arms, which is in Hebrew. And what it says on the coat of arms, if you can pull that up. I don't know can you pull up the Yale University coat of arms?
Yeah. Let me see. I see their coat of arms. I just don't know. It doesn't have any words with it, but it is the coat of arms.
If you just look up Yale on Wikipedia, it's right there. So if you're at home and you're on your phone, look up Yale University and just go to their coat of arms. It'll be on the right-hand side, and you'll see the Hebrew inscription on it. What really caught my eye, Derek, was that the Hebrew inscription means the Urim and the Thummim, and I may be saying that it may be Tumen, but I don't speak Hebrew, and I'm not fluent in that, nor do I pretend to be. But as I was reading through what those things were used for, they were used for divination, if you guys remember that.
Divination.
Mm-hmm. In determining who were the righteous from the unrighteous. And if you go down into Wikipedia, this was not an extensive research, but I just thought this was very interesting because it doesn't really matter what it says or what it says it does. It's how it forms, what the form of it is and its functionality. And I think that's the most important part. But in 1 Samuel 14:41, it says it's regarded by Bible scholars as key to understanding the Urim and the Thummim. Mm-hmm. The passage describes an attempt to identify a sinner via divination by repeatedly splitting the people into two groups and identifying which group contains the sinner. This is the form and the function of the Urim and the Thummim that is on and is the coat of arms for Yale University.
See that right there, folks? Right there. Okay, so now you understand where these people get chosen and why they get chosen. These are obviously Skull and Bones is one of those organizations where these people have become part of that. These aren't conspiracy theories. These aren't theories. You can ask the people themselves. Just ask Tim Russert, right? He asked George Bush and he asked John Kerry about their association with 322 and the Skull and Bones organization. And what did they say? They said it's secret and we can't talk to you about it. It's that secret. And Tim Russert was dead a year later, less than a year later, actually. So let's go to some things that you might expect. So just if you think QAnon was, the disappointment of that, wait until what you see take place over the next future here. Look at this. The White House website now asks for your preferred pronouns when you're registering to post something there.
Someone said, please increase the volume on Malia's microphone. I sound really loud to me, guys. So,
well, that's just your headphones, but I've got you turned all the way up.
Okay, I'll speak up, guys.
So they've got all the different pronouns for she and her and he and him and thee and they and them and preferred not to share and all that. So they've got that happening now. And if you didn't know that this took place, as I said earlier, they take control of the House. So expect lots of things to take place. Many of these executive actions, these are executive actions. Any of the QAnon folks that are thinking right now that, they're going to continue. I'd like to know what Amazing Polly's thinking, because she's got to be completely wiped out. But this is what you need to be concerned about, not because you can do anything about it. I'm not pointing these things out to scare you. I'm pointing these things out to, again, just like always, like I always do here, is to say, hey, look what's coming, just so when it does, it doesn't feel like such a slap in the face. So yes, they now have Congress, so they will convict Trump. They hate him that much, and they're coming for all of you next. If you were a Trump supporter, if you were a QAnon person, if you were any of those, and I'm not bad-mouthing QAnon, I'm telling you right now that I would have loved if all of that took place. What a righteous thing that would be. Let's round up a bunch of pedophiles and put them all in prison. Oh, and by the way, they all happen to be part of your government and run everything, and it's a deep swamp. Totally. You think I disagree with that idea? That would be wonderful. That's why everybody literally worshipped Trump. I mean, there's a network, Right Side Network, and I think they've done great work. But I mean, the preacher that I guess runs the thing does his podcast, and he's got a picture on his shelf with his scriptures and everything right behind him, like it's Jesus. I mean, it's really odd. And this is a man worship that's just terrible. This is exactly why Christ could speak of the things. This is why now reading the Gospels, now reading Christ's words, read them again right now, and think about him being here telling you those things right now in a cryptic way. He was just being cryptic. Think about what would he have been trying to tell us about that day? Well, I don't know, that they had a pandemic of leprosy, and they had to have camps, and they had a new currency system that they had to do money changing, and they used the churches and the temples to do that, and they let the church kind of execute their own laws, but they also had to abide by the Romans, and they gave them the best seats at the castles and everywhere else, everything. Zero difference. Absolutely none. So let's look at this. Oh, I mentioned Amazing Polly. Here's no more news. And he says, not so amazing Polly should crawl back in her hole and leave the internet forever after pushing lies for 4 years. Now, I don't agree with Adam's approach to saying that, because I think Polly is probably a good person with a good heart. She obviously cares. It takes a tremendous amount of tenacity to get behind a camera like this with a microphone and talk to people day in, day out, and to do your research. This isn't about money for anybody that does this, because there isn't any money and it's too stressful. It's hard. This is hard stuff to do. So I don't want to talk bad about her. But again, what do you say? What does she say? Other than I'm sorry, and start focusing on the things that are important. Now, let's go to the pardons, because people are talking about Trump pardoning people. And so I'm going to run a little thing here, and we're going to do this with the whole group here. How many pardons, guys, Malia, Dell, Deanna, Rob, how many pardons do you think that Trump issued?
I'm disqualifying myself because I know the answer.
Oh, okay. So, okay, who's pardoned more, Obama or Trump?
Obama.
I said Obama.
Okay, who has pardoned more, Bill Clinton or Obama?
Bill Clinton.
How about this one? Who pardoned more people, Jimmy Carter or Trump?
Jimmy Carter.
I would
Jimmy
say
Carter.
Jimmy Carter.
I'd say Carter.
Let me tell you something. Trump hasn't done anything. Donald Trump pardoned 237 people. You know who's the most? Franklin D. Roosevelt, 3,687.
I don't even have that many
Barack
friends.
Obama pardoned 1,927 people. Now, why do you have to pardon 1,927 people? That shows you how deep that swamp is, just to let you know. I mean, because when you're just like they're talking about, oh, Trump's pardoned all of his political cronies. Well, what, you think Barack Obama didn't have his political cronies included in 1,927 of them? By the way, this is from POTUS.com, okay? So I'm sure that these numbers aren't mixed up. I mean, seriously. Ronald Reagan pardoned 406. Wow. Donald Trump, where'd he go? See, he's so down here on the list, you can't even find him. Donald Trump, 237. 237 people. The least, Joe Biden has pardoned nobody.
Yet.
Wait until he gets done. It'll be in the thousands and thousands. He'll make everybody look tiny. That's if he is still the president. Or it'll be Kamala or Barack Obama. Because if Kamala's made president, she'll say, I just can't stand in the way. You know, since I have to appoint a vice president, I'll just appoint myself vice president. And Obama, please take the stage. Just say it. Expect that stuff, folks. That's why I laugh. I don't care who it is, because it's all bad. They're all part of the same soup. You call it a swamp, I call it soup.
And you'll never unmix it.
Why anybody pays attention to government God? It's just astounding. So, this is crazy. So I want to play this. Let me go to this, and I'm going to play this, and I'm going to leave the mics open that I can talk through this. But I'm going to let you watch this. This is from, like I said, the 1960s. Let it speak for itself. This is an actual national broadcast shown in the 60s. The words are at the bottom of the screen are just subtitles, right? They give you the subtitles. But the original text appears before it rolls out. You've got to be able to see it. Oh, say can you see? Trust the U.S. government. Watch the words before as they roll out. Trust the U.S. government. God is real. God is watching. God is real and God is watching. God is real. God is watching. Believe in government God. The twilight's last gleaming. Believe in government God. Rebellion is not tolerated.
Is this a sign off?
Rebellion is not.
Sleep?
Obey, consume, obey, consume. Yep, when you went to sleep, on the sign off on air on all national broadcasts. Trust in the U.S. government. Trust in the U.S. government. God is real. God is watching.
Can we go back to
God is real.
subliminal
God is
messages?
watching. Believe in government
straight
God.
up message now.
And the rocket's red glare. Believe in government. Rebellion is not tolerated. So this is what took place, folks. Let me go back to this here. This is what we've allowed. Somebody said on a comment, wow, all of these bad people in this country, why do we all have to suffer? Well, that's kind of how it works. That's kind of how it functions. You voted, you worked, you paid your taxes. You were a part of it. You did this. Oh, I don't see that. Oh, you did this. You've voted for the lesser evil. How many times? Every time. Even if you couldn't admit it, you voted for the lesser evil every time. Of course you're responsible. You're here. And when we find out really what this country has been a part of, And when we find out really who's behind everything, and you're going to find out sooner than later because they're in a hurry to get this done. I think it's obvious. So I want to ask, because Rob is here and he is far more in touch with the folks that are on Discord, on our Discord channel. I'd like him to bring you up to speed on, and I would bring Discord up on the screen here if I could, but this new machine, I don't have it installed on this yet. So, but I want to ask Rob. So Rob, first give us a little bit about yourself and then how long you've been here, because Rob lives here on the property, and how long you've been here, how you got here, where you came from, just quickly. And then tell me the temperament of people on Discord in our family and what you know outside of that, because you're family members and things like that.
Well, hello, I'm Robert, the Force Skywalker, out of New York. I've been here on the property since it started, about 6 months and change now.
Sorry, I just forgot to give you the
good.
welcome.
Started the journey when we all met over at Monument Valley about 2.5 years ago now. The consensus basically is, there's still a lot of questions out there when it comes to Q and how people feel. There's still people who are still following it at the time. Mm-hmm. And now with this transition over, there's going to still be a lot of questions, and people are going to be curious as to what to move forward with when it comes to it. In the past, I've just, explained how you have mentioned in the past there was, things about it that needed to be questioned. And
mm-hmm.
for me personally, I just basically would have added the attributes to it. And that's how I got where I came with the whole Q's thing, because I was in that rabbit hole for a while and I enjoyed it and I expected a lot of good things to come out of it. And, it gave us a lot of hope. But once I immediately saw the division that it was going to continue, that's when I decided to move on from it myself. And again, you still hear talk about it because it's been in the news, and again now. The family members, again, with the people that I do talk to, they have different perspectives at certain times, mm-hmm. But we all correlate and understand that, it may have come out to something, but hopefully now they may have a little better understanding on how to move forward with that, and hopefully it gave them something that enlightened them and helped them grow spiritually.
Well, what do you think? How do you feel that that people, though, within the Global Witness Discord? I mean, forget about the people that I'm sure that there are people that are Global Witness followers that still believe QAnon. I mean, that this video started, I had like, I don't know how many dislikes did I have before we started, just because I was talking bad about QAnon. So obviously there's still some hurt feelings out there, and I'm not trying to offend any of you or say that you're stupid or that you fell for something, but we all have fallen for things. Okay, so there's no shame in that. Hope is a very powerful thing. Why do you think they use it? And they use it to disarm and create a situation that's more tenable for themselves. But what do you think spiritually? The people that let's say people that you think are strong spiritually, have you seen a breakdown of that? People that are strong gotten weaker? How is that happening amongst the folks that you've talked to?
Well, what I've seen is people have grown from it. There are individuals that I have talked to where they come from that. They were with all of us, mm-hmm. as we were at one point, some of us in the rabbit hole of the Q, come out of it. And they're still questioning it just to try to figure out, who it was. Is it AI? Had an interesting conversation with a gentleman today about that. And, quantum as Q, very possible.
I took a selfie, just by the way.
Yeah, I saw that.
So I can send it to everybody. A selfie this way.
Oh. Wait, you should tell us first. I think my posture was off.
Okay, well, hold on. Let me try it one more. Here, I'm gonna post this up on. Yeah, I'm gonna post this up on. So you can see what the studio kind of looks like here and see everybody in the studio. And I'll post this in the community section. But I'm sorry, Rob, I didn't mean to interrupt you. But I'm trying to get a few things done here, and I wanted to make sure that I put that out there so people could see who we're talking to. So to reiterate, though, people are, do you think that because what I see is when I go into Discord, I see really strong people. I see really strong people really talking to others and giving them really solid spiritual guidance, real solid wisdom. And so I don't, people, how come you're not in Discord more? Like you need to, I was like, I think everybody actually does really well there. I see everybody refining one another there. Why do they need me to come and interrupt and, somehow I got to provide all the answers? That's just not, there are so many good voices. And now that's transitioning to the website here, which is just, and it's being loaded up with content. And we're going to continue with that. And I'm going to try to bring the Discord and all of these things into this, but just, but what I'm seeing, and even on the news site, if you could give a little bit about how you're seeing, because there's a lot of new people here.
Yes, I am enjoying the fact that.
So what are you seeing from the new people?
Just the family growing. A lot of people who were, some would say, tech declined, and now they're joining the server now, and it's growing rapidly. Seeing a lot of new people, meeting some new faces. Some of them who would never have gone to our Discord, and some of them from Discord are traveling over, and vice versa. So it's really good to see it grow as fast as it is going. The fellowship, another place where we can all gather, a social site where it's all connected to one, keeping us all in the same information and just sharing as much as we possibly can through all what we're going through. It's going to be great. I could see a lot of potential for what it is already right now, and with the growth that it's going to be. Everyone, it's your job to, give us that information, put it out there. There's no censorship, just if you have an idea, if you want to put it out there, create a group, put a newsletter. If you need help with anything, that's what we're here for. We're going to here and make it as best as possible and grow as best as we can do it for as long as we can.
Yeah, and the people are asking for the Discord and the chat right now, since everybody else can see the chat as well. I've got that up on the screen. And so I'll say hi to Hunting Wolf. Good to see you, Nancy Smith. Z-Dub. Good to see you, Hot Wheels. Liked your comments earlier. I used to see Scylla. A little smaller here for me, so I don't, and I don't like wearing glasses here on the screen or anything. I'm trying not to wear them and train my eyes to do better. And a blackout. So, it's really, it's remarkable that to watch this family grow, even sitting here looking at the chat, everybody in the chat, we love all of you. We support you. We, the one thing at the site and what we try to say here in the chat and everything else is, look, the one thing that we've had to learn to get away from a religion standpoint, from a political standpoint, is dogma. And what is dogma? Dogma is when you go, well, no, this is what it is. Like when somebody commented, and I just delete dogmatic comments because I don't give you a dogmatic comment here. I'll give you some options and, well, this is what it is. But when somebody refutes something and says, no, that's not his name, it's this, that's a waste of your time. And those are bad places for you to go. That is the good and evil. That is that tree. Stop and understand that we might feel and other people might feel and see things differently and describe it differently. But again, if you're paying attention to the attributes and the attributes alone, then you'll understand who you're dealing with. Don't project onto them. You're watching that happen right now. Stay off the sides again. Don't pick a side because this is going to get much worse. And don't feel that you got to stand up and defend yourself. That's the worst thing you can do. Standing up and defending your position. First of all, just like I tell you, nobody can tell me differently about Christ and me. No one can change my heart for that. So for me to argue it, if I feel the need to argue it, it means I really don't have a whole lot of faith and I really don't know it. That I feel that I have to defend it and say something and hear myself say it again. This is the power of the spoken word. Why do you think we convince ourselves all the time? By what we say. We talk about those things. You got to stop that pattern. And this is where all of this goes. I wanted to, if I could, anybody, if you do have questions in chat, and I'm going to let you know that this type of format isn't going to be, for those that subscribe, what we're going to try to start doing is have this type of format for the website exclusively for the longer podcasts. But then we will break this up into segments because we'll actually produce this out and have specific things we want to talk about and not be so impromptu and cover these things. But I also, we have to be very careful about what we talk about. I say things here, often that can get us triggered and shut off here. And that's a very difficult thing for people to have open discussions and be constantly trying to bite their tongue and worry about whether they're going to say something, because you say something about the E, you say the wrong word, and your video gets flagged by the algorithm almost immediately. Their policy is ridiculous now. So I'm doing everything I can here, but also encouraging you to go there, because these are going to be lots of videos. And believe me, I'm just going to tell you guys, because I said, if you did not see the old anonymous video that I reposted from 3 years ago that I had taken it down because I already got warnings from YouTube on that 3 years ago. And I was talking about the censorship and the arm of censorship that is coming. And everybody, didn't believe it. They had no idea where we were going. Now I just posted that again, so I'm going to have to pull that down. So the things they're going to be talking about are the things that I've wanted to talk about the entire time. I'm only going to speak on video there, not here on YouTube, because we can't. And so I'll tell you what I've told people here is that you haven't even heard from me yet. When you hear me talk about the things that I really want to talk about and how I want to talk about them, you're going to realize, wow, I haven't even heard from that guy yet. And you haven't heard from Malia yet. And you definitely haven't heard from Dell, but you're going to hear from Dell, because Dell's got some wisdom to drop you. And Rob and Deanna and everybody involved in this, believe me, everybody's got their piece. This is a body. Start stepping up. Stella here is getting all angry at somebody. Must be somebody home.
That's our doorbell, guys.
Yeah, Stella's our doorbell. We don't have a doorbell. But hey, I wanted to, let me go to this, and I want to show you this right here. Also, just if you ever had a doubt of what was going on, there's something a little weird, I tweeted, I thought it was Trump they hated. You see, it's not his followers they're after. These are the brooms for the extreme left. Right now, you've got Antifa and BLM rioting in the streets of capitals all over the place. I wonder, didn't their guy get elected? Or is this just part of the plan? So that's it. What a ridiculous thing. The plan, it's just all part of the plan. So with that, I'm going to ask if anybody else has anything on their heart they want to talk about, and we will talk about that. Oh, hold on. Oh, wait a minute. Let me just cover this very quickly. Communist Chinese are big fans of Biden and Hunter. Did you know that? Yep.
Surprise.
Surprise. Congratulations to the 42nd president of the United States. So, this is, look at this. This is China News. China News has a video, or not a video, a picture. Good riddance, Trump. They didn't like him. I wonder why. Why do they like Biden so much? Here's all these Q drops. Now, here's what I would do. I would go find all of these Q drops, just see, and I would keep them. I mean, this should definitely be kept for posterity. And you could also, look at that. There's a picture of Hunter. Oops, I don't want to get banned for that. Hunter in a crack pipe. Yep. So yes, we know all of this stuff takes place. Right? It's just that the solution that was offered or telepathically sent to everybody through Q was not going to be executed. But I wished it had been. I mean, it'd be great to see bad people come to justice. They're bad people. They should come to justice. So, but I'm going to ask everybody right now what the, go back to this. What's your last, and by the way, I've named the chat when I bring it up on here to the screen, the upper room. So be appropriate with the upper room there, folks in chat. Anybody have any final thoughts before the evening, before we close out the stream?
I wanted to say one thing. I always have a few things to say, but I'll keep it to one. And I want to reiterate what Dell said, because I think that's so important that, number one, we need to make friends with reality where we are today. And let me admit something to you. I'm not a Q follower. Derek and I both had leaning tendencies from before. I was a little down today. That's me being honest.
Yeah.
I want to believe, that Donald Trump's that stand-up guy, and that, that he might come and kick some ass or do something. Oh, there, I did it again. Are we going to have to bleep me?
No,
okay.
No bleeping.
All right. So that's me being honest. And you know, we've waffled back and forth, and that's us in our flesh, right? We all have these emotions in our flesh. But then at the end of the day, we have to remember who our real enemy is and who the real conspirator is, and that is Satan, Lucifer and Satan. And I'm reading a really good book, and I wanted to kind of make you guys aware of it. It's called Satan, Prince of This World.
Yeah, let me show it. We're going to be reviewing this.
There you go. And it's, be careful, all my notes might fall out. I'm about halfway through it. It's William Guy Carr, his son, published it posthumously. He died in 1959. It's like reading the newspaper today.
Amazing.
But I highly recommend you're getting this book. We will be talking more about it. We'll debrief on it. I'm almost finished. Derek's going to read it. I think Dell will also read it too.
Definitely.
Yeah, and we would like to talk about that because we really don't battle against flesh and blood, but against principalities and spirits that set themselves up in high places, and that's even within us, you guys. And I think right now, what's important when talking to folks who, you know, I think we should empathize with the Q folks and both sides really, because this is the opportunity where we're actually able to see kingdoms within these people
For sure.
falling within. And this gives us a way to point people in the right direction and to become passersby and really to understand what Christ is within and finding out who the real enemy is and ways to battle spiritually. And I think that we should equip ourselves to do that. And that's really all I wanted to say.
Well, you always have wonderful things to say. And, you know, I got to tell you, every single morning that we wake up, all of the things that we thought about at night, we're always discussing those things. We're always constantly doing that. And that's why I wanted to get this all set up so we can stop doing that out there, because some of the greatest discussions that I've heard in a long time have happened at this house right here. And so we're going to continue that. And I want to make that a bigger part of what we do, because there's going to be a larger exchange. And by the way, I'm going to put Zoom conferencing in the website itself. So we'll have scheduled conferences where, you know, myself and Malia, and also be able to schedule time and all of that with us. You know, if somebody needs one-on-one to really just break down and just, you know, cry on somebody's shoulder, well, we want to make ourselves available to do that too. But we can't just open it up to the whole world all at one time, and we'll just be killed by it. But it's an important time right now that we start to put that forward, and that we can begin working with one another. And we can do that through this site, and we can do that and through these groups. And Rob was talking about earlier, these groups, you put it in there, you participate, you engage, you start having these conversations, you start saying, I was a total Q person, and talk about it. Because look, hiding it inside of yourself isn't helping you. These things never help you. Get these things out, talk about them. And
Someone asked if we were in the mid-tribulation.
I wouldn't say that we're in mid-tribulation. I would say that we're about to go into the beginning of, or we're in the beginning of tribulation. I would call that, based on some of the things that we've said, I would say. But what is tribulation?
How many of you women know what Braxton Hicks contractions are?
Yeah, how about that?
Those are those fake contractions
Yes.
that come before the real deal.
Yeah, that's what I believe these are.
I believe we're in Braxton Hicks contractions.
Yeah, I believe when this really jars you, it's going to shatter. I've seen minds shattered already. I mean, I'm watching. So this, I would say that even a Braxton Hicks, right, makes you think that a baby's coming. And we've watched that happen to many people. But Del, Rob, Deanna, anybody have anything to say before we close out? Del probably got.
I got a few things, and
All
I'm
right.
looking forward to ongoing hearty conversations. I can just share with you what I feel. I think it's really important we start listening to that still small voice in us, and start honing our walk in Christ, because really that's where our strength is. These are the things that will heal you, transform you, and make you better.
Mm-hmm. No question about it. Rob?
Just want to thank everybody for joining us tonight. You everyone have a good night.
Malia, you want to say goodnight?
Good night, y'all.
She said goodnight, y'all. We love you very much. And here's what I'm going to do. Let me just leave you with a little bit of, let me kill this and leave you with, oh, I didn't even get to try my toys. Well, I did a couple of them. I give you a little applause for Rob, but I've got little sound effects we get to play with. We'll have fun. I'm trying to lighten how you're feeling tonight, because I know people are beat up, and you've been absorbing this endlessly. I mean, forever, and you can't. It takes it out of you. You can't continue to do this, right? You've been consuming this stuff forever, and that's why I'm always like, somebody asking me a question, what do I think of Q? And I was like, I don't want to lead you to anything other than where I've tried to help you go, and that's inside. And start polishing that. Once you find that pearl, that single pearl of great price, hang on to that, polish it, protect it. We love you very much, and we'll talk to you very soon.